Good afternoon and welcome to the Mind What Matters webinar on the I-5 Bridge Trunnion Replacement Project. This is a project that is going to be 10 days long, and our hope through the webinar today is that we can mitigate what would otherwise be negative impacts and consequences on our business community. Our webinar today will provide information on how you can most easily get to your customers, how you can help your employees get to their jobs on time, and what detour routes are available as well as mass transit. Now, if you have questions, in the lower right-hand side of your screen, you should see a area to type in those questions. If you'll type those in during the Q&A portion, we'll get to them as we have time. And you can do that at any time during the presentation. So hope to have a lot of good questions to deal with. Today, to share the information with us, we have two guest speakers. First is Chris Selk. Chris is the Communication and Public Affairs Manager for C-TRAN. And along with Chris is Ellen Sweeney. Ellen is from the Community Affairs Office of the Oregon Department of Transportation. And Ellen has brought with her a presentation on the closure itself and some of the impacts to the I-5 on-ramps and off-ramp system. So without any further housekeeping to take care of, please welcome Chris Selk.
All right, thank you, John. And good afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much to the Chamber for giving me an opportunity to discuss C-TRAN's role in the trunnion replacement project. We have been involved in planning for this project for over 2 years with our partners ODOT and WSDOT and the other myriad agencies who will play a vital role in its success. C-TRAN's main focus in advance and during the trunnion replacement will be the launch of our new bus on shoulder initiatives on I-5 and I-205. As many of you may know, C-TRAN has operated bus on shoulder on State Route 14 for the past 3 years with great success, and we are very excited to extend this project to other major arterials in the region. So a bit about bus on shoulder advance. C-TRAN buses will be able to operate on the southbound inside shoulder of Interstate 5 between the 99th Street Transit Center and the I-5 bridge. Construction recently finished on that project. I believe it was done on August 14th. Maybe some of you have noticed that ongoing, and it is complete now. So we are getting ready to start operator training on Interstate 5, which we're really excited about. As far as I-205 goes, our buses will be able to operate on the north and the southbound outer shoulders of I-205 between Airport Way and SR 14. So that's really the main difference between those two bus on shoulder projects. I-5 is southbound only on the inside shoulder. I-205 is north and southbound on the outer shoulder. Now, the shoulder may be used only when freeway speed falls to below 35 miles per hour. And the bus speed, while it's using the shoulder, is limited to 15 miles per hour above the traffic speed. So the buses therefore can't go any faster than 50 miles an hour on the shoulder, and it will usually be a little bit slower than that. Advance. Now, in addition to bus on shoulder, we are also adding 2 trips in the morning and the afternoon on 2 of our most popular commuter routes, which are I-164 and 134. And we also have supplemental service on standby. We call those tripper buses. So if we are seeing that one or more of our buses are stranded in heavier than usual traffic, we can add another bus into the routing and get people to where they need to go closer to their preferred time. Advance. So that's just a really quick view of what we are going to be doing for our role in the trunnion replacement project. My information is right here, and I'll also be hanging out after Ellen Sweeney from ODOT finishes up and can answer any questions that you have specific to C-TRAN. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. C-TRAN is going to be significant in our mitigation efforts to reduce the congestion and the negative impacts on business. So we really appreciate all of C-TRAN's efforts. Now, Ellen Sweeney from the Oregon Department of Transportation here to talk more about the specific lane closures and how that will work. Ellen?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. And I am going to attempt to share my screen. There we go. Great. So hopefully you guys can all see the first slide of the presentation. And the Interstate Bridge Trunnion Replacement Project construction has begun to prepare for the main event. The northbound bridge of the span of the Interstate Bridge will close completely September 12th through the 20th. It's 9 full days in September. And we're expecting, the traffic will be very constrained during these 9 days, and that northbound traffic will not be detoured, closed and detoured. It will be routed across the median, and it will share the 3 lanes of the southbound span with southbound traffic. So we'll dive deeply into what that means and what the impacts are. But as you can imagine, the traffic will be very constrained during this time. So before we dive into some of those details, I do want to mention outside of these 9 days, from now through October, I'm sure you guys have seen some activity out there already. We are expecting some other impacts. And most of these impacts are really to prepare for the work and then clean up after. And so you'll see some nighttime lane closures, you'll see some bridge lifts in the middle of the night, and some intermittent nighttime ramp closures only when really necessary. The one that I do want to make sure you are all aware of is the 7-day lane closure on I-5 South. A single lane closure on I-5 South doesn't sound that impactful, but I really think for those folks traveling southbound on I-5 in the mornings into Oregon it's going to be a tough 7 days in the morning. We are expecting some congestion with that 7-day lane closure. So during the 9 days, you'll see these 4 ramps here will be closed. So there are 4 area ramps, 2 in Oregon, 2 in Washington, and we'll dive into these 2 up here in Washington. We'll dive into the detour routes for those. This is the ramp, that you can get on here on Washington Street from downtown. And then you can also, it kind of swirls around here from SR 14 westbound to I-5 South. That one will be closed. And we're going to detour folks up Columbia Street. And we've worked really closely with City of Vancouver and WashDOT on these detour routes and the signal timing to make sure traffic is flowing on these detour routes. So we'll be routing folks from downtown up to Mill Plain. Folks on 14, we're just going to take them north on I-5 to 4th Plain Boulevard, and they can turn around there. What the traffic engineers found was that the 4th Plain Boulevard interchange just has a lot more capacity to handle that detour traffic. than Mill Plain does, so we decided to route them up there. This is the second closed Washington ramp, I-5 North. That first little exit there to get on SR14 eastbound will be closed. And the same thing as the last one, we're going to route folks northbound on I-5 up to 4th Plain and then back down to SR14. So that's those two detour routes. So you will expect to see some congestion during these 9 days that these ramps are closed and I-5 is constrained. There will be some traffic on side streets. There will be a lot of traffic on other A5 and SR14. We're expecting a lot of congestion, and we have a lot of people keep mentioning that the traffic volumes are so low now that really they've been steadily increasing since they dropped last spring, and we're at about 90% now. So we are really expecting some serious congestion with this 9-day closure. And then, so what we've been out in the community for a few years now talking about this project. Many of you have probably heard about it already. And what we're telling folks is we're really trying to share what the impacts are, what the congestion is that's coming, and just make suggestions and give them options of what they can do differently. So options that folks have is they can, shift or delay trips. Oops. Sorry about that. Shift or delay trips. They can work from home or an alternate location. They can take bus or transit. C-TRAN has some really great options. And then there's rideshare, van pool, and carpool. So the transit improvements are great. Like Chris said, we've been all working, many agencies in the area have been working on this project for years in preparation. And so transit services will be enhanced on with additional buses on existing routes. And there will be bus on shoulder on I-5, SR14, and I-205 across the Glen Jackson Bridge. If you haven't heard of Get There, there's Get There Southwest Washington and Get There Oregon. It's a really great trip planning tool that'll come in handy for employees or people trying to connect trips. And then this kind of talks a little bit about our outreach. We started a few years ago, reaching out to event venues and, having a website and doing community presentations and briefings. And what you'll see is, I'm sure you've already noticed a bit of an ad campaign that has started in July and is just ramping up. And it'll increase the closer we get to this closure. And this is our website. So this is the final slide. If you go to our website, what you'll find is a place where you can put your email in and you'll get on our email list. And we send emails about once a week right now, but you'll stay in the know of what's happening. The other thing on our website that you will see is 3 different ways to contact the project team. There's a phone number, there's an email, there's a comment form. Depending on what works best for you, you can contact us there. And that concludes the presentation.
Thanks, Ellen. So we do have a couple of questions.
Thank you.
For both of you. So thank you for agreeing to stick around and deal with those. First question then was, what time of day will the lane shifts occur on I-5?
Yeah, the lane shifts, they will happen between noon and 1 p.m. and then again from 2 to 3 a.m.
And will traffic be stopped, or will they do that with traffic flowing? in the
They do
remaining
it with
lanes.
traffic flowing. Yeah, they do it with traffic flowing. And if you go to our website, front and center, right there on the website, there's a video. And if you push play, it will show you a simulation of what that traffic crossover looks like, and how we call it a zipper barrier. It's a big machine. It's like a big truck, and it just drives through the project area, that middle lane, and it moves that concrete barrier over. It shifts it to the other lane, and it creates that switchover. It's amazing to watch. If you want to watch that video, it'll show you the simulation. It's really impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, some of us were here the last time we had to use the zipper, so we remember it. The next question was, what do you anticipate the traffic to look like on the surface streets? For example, in downtown or out in Fisher's Landing near I-205?
We're expecting congestion on all the freeways in the area, but also on some of the local streets as well. And we're working very closely with City of Vancouver on signal timing. So the traffic engineers are timing those signals to facilitate the flow of traffic on those detour routes, so that those detour routes aren't just sitting there. That'll help minimize the diversion quite a bit. But really helping that flow of the detour route, the vehicles there will be great. Yeah, like I think Chris touched on this, but so many different partner agencies have been involved in this project. It's been quite the collaboration. So that has been great. Yeah.
Chris, regarding C-TRAN, if an employer would like to bring the transit information to their employees who are not regular riders, is C-TRAN available to work with individual employers in that regard?
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. I mean, I would be thrilled to help any individual, any employer get out more information. I know we've got a pretty robust, in connection with WSDOT and ODOT, social media plans in place that we are going to be pushing out a lot of information on those and sharing posts so we can get as many eyes on that as possible. But in addition, to that, we're ready and willing to work with any business or employer, large or small, to help get information out and to explain to folks as employees what we can do for them.
Excellent. Ellen, you mentioned a number of tools that are available on your website. What about connection with the traffic apps like Waze or Google in terms of finding out what the level of congestion is?
Yeah, so Oregon, on the Oregon side, we have an app called Trip Check. Oh, I could just hear myself, sorry. And Trip Check will display all of the impacts going on, but what it also does is we feed reports with that data to Google Maps, all of those platforms that people use to get around. And then we are a part of the community partner program with Waze. And so we have worked with Waze already to get this project posted online. So it'll be on Waze and all of those various platforms that people use.
All right, I don't see any other questions coming in at this point. So thank you both again for taking the time to visit with our members and hopefully mitigate as much of this impact as we can over the 9 days. So thanks very much.
Thank you.